Hello and welcome to round 14 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2025 as we head to another new venue for the series, the third one in a row, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the Sepang circuit, and rain forecast for the race. In fact, not just rain, the words heavy storm have been thrown around, which means you know it's going to get interesting. Qualifying is just starting, so we will quickly look at the standings before we move to the circuit. In the Drivers' Championship, it's been 3 wins in a row for Pascal Polens, and the gap has shut to under a race win. Lucas Murno is under pressure, but still holding all the cards with 3 rounds to go. Filip Puška falling back, needs a big result to try and stay in the fight. In the constructor standings for Vanguard, they are starting to pull a little bit clear of Cesario and SCMM. They are getting ever closer to becoming the first team that isn't Holland Racing Team to be a WMSC Constructors Championship. In the meantime, towards the bottom, big points for Velocita with former champion Yanis Volborn driving for them means they could move up the table and they might even overtake their former sister team this afternoon with another good haul. So let's head towards the track. And as we do, we welcome once again Robin Ciuman, who is here for this afternoon. Oh, a quick look at the forecast there as well. And we've got cloud expected for qualifying. As mentioned, chance of rain, but that rain, when it comes, might be essentially monsoon weather, as has always been the case in Malaysia. So heading to track. Robin, sorry about that. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing really well. I'm looking forward to this one. One of my favorite tracks from Formula One back in the day when it was still on the calendar, and yeah, very much looking forward to that race. Yeah, with the rain forecast, that should be a very good one.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think this is a fantastic addition to the calendar, a brilliant circuit indeed. And we are now on board with Pascal Polens. The sun very much out at the minute. And he looks like he's going to be our first flying lap this afternoon as we head up the hill towards the end of Sector 1. And hard on the brakes into Turn 4. Running the car out wide, and then we sweep through turns 5 and 6. Here, just regulating. Oh, it looks it's down's pretty flat through there actually. As we move through 7 and 8, and we'll be hard on the brakes for turn 9. That'll bring us to the end of sector 2. And there was an incident between Gajano and B that will have no further investigation. I think a couple of cars maybe just tripping over each other in the early parts of this session. In the meantime, Polens into turn 14. Right-hander can be slightly difficult due to the entry, sort of slightly curved entry, and then having to clip the apex ball, throttle down before we reach the 15th and final corner. Slightly awkward pit entry here out to the right. Here comes Polens towards the line. And he does indeed go onto provisional pole. La Flamme just 2 tenths back. Not bad at all, but Puška outdoing both of them. And it's going to be important for him to get pole because SCMM have come the next team to try the 4th engine gamble. So remember, every team has 3 engines each allotted. And every time they use an engine at a race, it loses a little bit of power. But they have an option to take a 4th engine, a brand new engine, at the cost of a 10-place penalty. And Filip Puška this afternoon has taken that option. And I think I'm right in saying everyone who has taken the 4th engine has at least put it on pole. So I believe, yeah, La Flamme did it, Silverstone, Murno then did it at Baku.
Yeah, it was Baku. Yeah.
And then, yes, it was Poland's last time out at Abu Dhabi. It was only a week ago. I've forgotten now where we went racing. But yes, so Puška looking to do much the same. His teammate Gajano has also done it. Oh, was Peckley just applying the power out of 14, I think that is, and manages to keep it out of the wall. And Palaro having a similar moment. I think that's somewhere in the middle of Sector 2 or at the start of Sector 3. But yes, both SCMMs have taken a fourth engine, as have both of the HRTs. Both Alexander Knezovic and Misha Smith have 4-place grid penalties, although, from what we can see, Knezovic still absent due to his move. So his 10-place grid penalty will not be taken today. Misha Smith, however, very much will. Currently 4th, splitting the vanguards. In the meantime, here comes Gijano with that fresh engine in the back. Let's see what he can do. Currently last. That is surely about to change. And goes up to 5th ahead of Laflamme. That's a solid lap.
Yeah, as always, I've got some intel from the Vanguard's engineering team. So they have put their focus on the race and the conditions in the race. So they have no too high expectations for qualifying. The car is purely set up for the race, and their hope is that they still will be starting quite towards the front because of all the penalties that you were already talking about. And I think that is quite a good tactic from what we've seen the last couple of races.
Yeah, very much so. And obviously, it was their focus on race strategy that helped them out in Baku because they were the ones to identify the potential brake failure issue, the only ones to do so. And that meant in the end, instead of finishing 2nd and 4th, they finished 1st and 3rd. And that focus again could be really useful because obviously if you're setting up the car for a wet race, especially when it's going to be heavy rain at certain intervals throughout the race, is what we're expecting. That would be a big advantage, and that would also go some way to explaining the 6/10 between Pushka and Murno and Poland's there basically. So yeah, interesting choice. And if we were to take out the people who are going to have penalties, currently the starting grid would be Murno, Poland's, and Laflamme, because everyone else in that top 6 is getting a penalty.
Yeah, so that's a front row start for Poland, right alongside his competitor, the man he's trying to challenge for the Drivers' Championship. So at the moment, this is working absolutely fine for them. As here's Victor B, he is returning to WMSC with Infernal Void. After what I've seen in the Discord server, he had an injury that prevented him from driving. Now he's back, and he is in an Infernal Void car that looked a bit stronger the last races. Palaro scoring a point at Abu Dhabi, for example.
Yeah, Palaro's had a real turnaround in fortunes, and B, it very much has the ability to score points and has done so in the past, but always seemed to get maybe tangled up in a few incidents here and there. So if he can keep his nose clean, he's got the pace. So fingers crossed he can do something for Infernal Void this afternoon. They, like as you say, have had a bit of an upturn in fortunes, as has Velocita. Speaking of which, Yanis Volborn currently 9th in that car after scoring points on debut for them. But here comes B, entering turn 11, clipping the apex out. And Gustavo Brzezinski has been given a 3-place grid penalty. And I believe that's for impeding. I think that's what it was. It's just cut off from race control there. As Lucas Murno moves ahead into provisional pole by 500ths of a second ahead of Filip Pushka. And around the final corner for Victor B, a little bit heavy on there. Just kind of gliding mid-corner, losing a bit of momentum. And there's no improvement there for him on this occasion. In fact, Diogo Meneghetti immediately jumps ahead. Maximilian Jaeger an improvement that stays 10th in the Beta Julia. There's Machado now. He's had some solid results this season for Potenza Esports. Going to be wanting to keep up scoring points, especially with Velocita now looking more likely to be in the points a bit more regularly with Yanis Volborn there. Potenza currently on 17 points, Infernal Void on 9, Velocita on 8. In the meantime, here is Gustavo Frigoto, who did manage his first point in Baku. Bravo Snow Shatton's first points this season, and indeed as a team. The chaotic race might be hoping for attrition rather than outright pace this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And one good result for them might elevate them above Magnum. Magnum 11th in the team standings, 2 points ahead of Bravo Snow Shatton. So if it gets really chaotic with the rain, there is a chance for them to not finish bottom of the table.
Absolutely. And and Philip Pushka. Seen a couple of people there just kind of getting a little bit trigger happy on the throttle and sliding out, and it's not one you usually expect to see from Philip Pushka, who was on a purple first sector.
Yeah, that's turn 4, right? Exactly
yes.
After the first sector split, right?
Yeah, so we wouldn't rule Philip Pushka out for pole just yet, obviously asterisked with that 10th place grid drop. In the meantime, Gabriel Peckley 2/10 down after the first sector. Managed 4th last time out.
Currently, that lap might be good enough for the top 3 at the moment, depending on that last sector. That's definitely not it.
And another quick commentator's curse throwing straight in there. Yeah, that entry to turn 14, it can be quite awkward. About positioning the car right on the curved entry, and here's Poland's who manages to get that just right. This is looking promising indeed. This is much closer to Murno. Don't think he's going to get himself ahead of Philip Pushka. Laflamme's just improved to 3rd, but I think Poland's here might be about to take that off him, and does so.
Oh, it's even
purple final sector. Meantime, here is Misha Smith. I think he's just peeled off into the pits, actually. And we see Aaron Curtis for United Racing Club, and the United Racing Club sporting a new livery from today. And I speak on behalf of the entire commentary team, is how happy we are to see yet another red car. We think it makes our job really easy, and we're really happy that it is definitely more red than it was before. But it is a good livery. Not knocking the livery. No, just any other colour would be great. In the meantime, Axel Laflamme currently improving. 3/10 down after 2 sectors. And he's off into the pits. That's enough of that. In the meantime, Lucas Murno currently down by 0.05 of a second on himself. Seeing he can recover the time throughout the rest of the lap. Clipping the apexes beautifully through 7 and 8. Looking to try and get a little bit of momentum back his way. Obviously had that run of 3 poles and race wins in a row in rounds 8, 9 and 10. And it's all been a little bit messy. Britain, Azerbaijan, and the United Arab Emirates. Close to a win last time. But strategy for Poland's just seeing him through, but at least a return to the podium. Good day. It's been good damage limitation, all things considered. You consider how rough some of the starts at Silverstone and Baku were for him. And he goes purple in the second 2 sectors to slightly extend that gap over Philip Pushka. In the meantime, Gino Gajano off into the gravel. I think that's turn 14. That could be a bit of a troublesome location this afternoon. In the meantime, Philip Pushka, purple in Sector 1, down by 0.03 of a second in Sector 2.
This is the tricky one where Gabriel Peckley got it wrong multiple times, but this looked decent. Towards the final corner he goes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, I was just to say, hopefully he's going to try and make use of that new engine in the back. Obviously, these 2 long straights. As the checkered flag is out, this is going to be the final important lap for him, and it vitally puts him onto pole by just under 0.3 of a second. A big lap at the perfect time for Philip Pushka. Obviously, he will get knocked down due to his grid penalty. In the meantime, Gabriel Peckley bails out. He's down in 8th. Here's Yannis Volborn in the Velocita. Can he improve? About 0.3 down from Sector 1. Obviously, any points he can pick up for this team between now and the end of the season to get them up the places, and that would improve their financial prize.
Sorry to interrupt. Danny Weller has put it up to 4th in the Lucky Hamish.
Oh my goodness.
I completely missed that. That is incredible. No improvement from Vanguard. So Weller, as it stands, will start in the top 3, but Yannis Volborn's lap might just put him there.
That is an incredible lap from Denny Vella, completely out of the blue. So, here comes Volborn. Towards the final corner we go. Keeping it nice and tidy. Here we go. Yannis Volborn. What's it going to be for him? It's up 1 place to 9th ahead of Maximilian Jaeger. And Negretti. Is this a flying lap or is this into the pits? I think it's into the pits. I think that might be our qualifying session for Sepang. So, penalties are a little bit more straightforward, at least today, so we can kind of give you some idea of what the grid will look like. Philip Pushka puts it on pole, but he will take 10th-place grid penalty due to his new engine, which promotes Lucas Murno, Pascal Polens, and Denny Vella incredibly up 1 place each, as does Axel Flam. So that makes them your top 4. Misha Smith is 6th, but will also take a 10th-place grid penalty for the new engine, as does Gino Gajano in 7th, promoting Gabriel Peckley up by 2. Yannis Volborn also a beneficiary, as is Maximilian Jaeger in the Beta Giulia. Victor B is 11th, ahead of Diogo Menegretti and Gabriel Hubert, with Jean Palaro in the other Infernal Void. Mateus Machado is ahead of both the United Racing Club cars of Curtis and Rustemeyer. Chirino in the other Beta Giulia in 18th, ahead of the 2 Bravo Snow Shattens. So there will be a short break as the drivers have a warm-up session, and then a rainy race in Sepang. That should be very interesting indeed. I hope you'll join us. See you very shortly. Hello and welcome back to round 14 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship from Sepang in Malaysia. The race session is just about to start. We can see the end of the warm-up here, but a reminder that we are expecting a combination of heavy rain, storm, and light rain, both all throughout the race session. We've not seen it so far. It's been a dry qualifying, dry warm-up. So this could be very interesting for the drivers to acclimatise to. Now, it's worth noting the probabilities throughout fluctuate between like 28 to 38%. So there's still even maybe dry patches, but when it rains, it will pour. And, you know, from races at Malaysia in the past, we know that that is something that can happen very much monsoon season, as it were. And we do have a few grid penalties to make you aware of. We will go through the grid once we jump into the race session. But a little bit more straightforward, it has to be said, previous week's penalties. Certainly not the penalty fest it has been of late. And as we come to the end of the session, I'm going to do that thing where I throw Robin under the bus and make him drop in a prediction for who you think is going to win at Malaysia.
I'm going to say it will be Pascal Polens again who will win this race, just because Vanguard always seem to get it right in these chaotic races, and I expect a chaotic race. So I expect Polens to close the gap in the championship even further.
I think that's a really good call, and it's the one I would make as well. And in terms of the championship, just a little bit of a heads up, no matter what happens this afternoon, Lucas Murno cannot secure the Drivers' Championship, even if he wins and Pascal Polens fails to score. But Philip Pushka can be out of the championship picture depending on the results. And this is how we line up. Lucas Murno is on pole alongside Pascal Polens, an incredible qualifying from Denny Vella in Lucky Hamish Racing in third, alongside Axel the Flam. Row 3, Gabriel Peck is alongside Yanis Volborn. Volborn again looking strong for more points in that Velocita. Maximilian Jaeger is alongside Victor B in Infernal Void Racing. Hugo Menebetti and Gabriel Joubert in the other Lucky Hamish car rounds out the top 10. Philip Pushka was the fastest man in qualifying, but his grid penalty sees him there. That's how we can make the most of that new engine. He's alongside Jean Palaro with Mateus Machado, Aaron Curtis, Dominic Rustermeyer, and Misha Smith, who also had a grid penalty, running up just behind them. Row 9 is Gino Gajano, also serving a grid penalty alongside the other Beta Julia of Sharino, while Bos Bravos, no Shattens are at back. So, no formation lap. As you can see, rain is lightly falling. We have 50% rain. Track wetness of 0 to 50%. The revs come up, the lights go on, and off we go. And apologies for the camera angle. We've got a little bit of a glitch there as we head down into turn 1. And everyone seems to be away cleanly. But they're going 3 wide, and Denny Vella is there. Oh, we've got one of the Beta Julias out onto the grass at the side. Oh, Denny Vella's just treated a little bit offline, trying to stay clear of people. At the minute, he was challenging 3 wide for the top 2. But at the minute, it looks like it's Murno and Polens who are away. With Axel just behind. And so far, everyone away cleanly. Track wetness has immediately gone up to a maximum of 40% from 15% in just the first few moments. Philip Pushka, in the meantime, already up to 7th from starting 11th. That's a good start from him indeed. Obviously, he has the new engine, but SCMM are down on power throughout this season, and, you know, wet conditions might help him with that a little bit. Wet conditions can be a great leveler in these situations. But as it stands, completely to plan for Murno. Oland's just alongside the Flam. Vella staying 4th. Peckley's ahead of Volborn, and we're with Pushka now. Misha Smith has also made up ground really quickly. He's 8th just behind him. well, Meneghetti in 9th B dropping to 10th. I think that was Jaeger who went wide from turn 1. And there was no further action. Gino Gagiano was involved in some form of incident. He was down in 18th, but no further action there. In the meantime, Filip Puška looking to try and get past a man who was previously fighting for a championship with very different goals for Waldborn and Puška today. Puška needing to stay in the championship fight. If Lucas Murno outscores him by 8 points, he's mathematically out of it this afternoon.
But that was a good move there from Puška past Waldborn. Waldborn didn't fight that one too hard because I think he knows that it's not his fight to pick. Puška is now just behind Gabriel Peckley, and Peckley will definitely make this a lot harder for Puška because, of course, he is trying to help his teammate who's leading this race and quite comfortably leading this race. Over 1 second the gap already, as Puška is able to do a much tighter line there through that long left-hand sweeper.
And we have a little bit of a replay of the start as Gustavo Fragoto has been ordered to give a position back to Maximilian Jaeger. But everyone away cleanly. It's a good start from Denny Vella, it has to be said. Lucas Murno going defensive very early doors. You can see Vella thought about hanging it all the way around the outside, but just got a little bit too wide. Maximilian Jaeger getting way too wide indeed. A little bit of a clatter through turn 2, but again, everyone through relatively cleanly, and yeah, that was a textbook start from Lucas Murno, and he's making that advantage count. So far, we return Gabriel Peckley. That's kind of important for 2 reasons really this afternoon for Gabriel Peckley, not just help Lucas Murno, but also Cesario in the Constructors' Championship. If Vanguard Engineering outscore Cesario by 11 points this afternoon, they could actually seal the Constructors' Championship today. It's a long shot, but that's something to keep an eye out for indeed. But as we move into turn 1, Puška's on the inside, and just like he did against Volborg, he's managed to make it stick. Peckley might have a look at trying to come back at him, but he is on the outside for 2. And I think Puška has got that move done. 2 very solid moves. He's making the most of that engine. Oh, a bit of a snap there from Peckley as he's coming out through 3. And it's considered stuff so far from Filip Puška. And up next, the high-flying Denny Vella in the Lucky Hamish Racing. And I believe you got some insight as into maybe why Vella is performing so well this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucky Hamish have upgraded that car a lot out of this race. 10 updates to the car they brought to Malaysia. As well as they have been saving with the engines. They have a new engine in that car, but it is the 3rd engine. So essentially also a brand new engine, but seeing as they were staying within that limit of 3 engines, they did not have to take a penalty. So yeah, Denny Vella is absolutely making the most of this upgraded and powerful Lucky Hamish car van.
Absolutely, and it's one of the things you have to consider doing when you are a team lower down the order. It's a good strategic move. Let's hope Vella can make the most of it. Really good looking pace so far. And even if Filip Puška is coming to try and take that place off him, the top 5 not out of the question. In the meantime, Yannis Volborn is now trying to pester Gabriel Peckley and Cesario. Oh, they've almost nose to tail there, and Peckley's just disappeared.
Vanished.
Is that a disconnect for Gabriel Peckley?
Well, we saw this a couple of times this season, and he just suddenly popped out 20 seconds. Oh, it is a disconnect. He's now listed as DNF.
Oh, that's big. That is huge for Cesario, as that may be vital in the Constructors' Championship. At the minute, Murno is still leading, so it's not going to be the 11-point swing that Vanguard need, but it's going to put them very close. In the meantime, Puška is looking up to turn 4 on Denny Vella. But not this time. He's clearly got the pace on Vella. And he'll want to clear him quickly because he's making good progress through the field, and he won't want Laflamme, Polands or Murno to maybe get too far up the road. as there might be a chance for him this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just 6.9 seconds down on race leader Murner at the moment, so he is really slicing through that field well, not losing too much time. And then, of course, we don't know how quick he'll be in free air, but I suppose he is going to be flying then. And Gabriel Peckley's back out, down in 20th, so it was a brief disconnect. As I was saying, we saw this a couple of times this season. I think also multiple times with Peckley, that he just disappeared and then reappeared 20 seconds or something down the road. This time it was a longer disconnect, and now Philip Pushka is looking to make a move into the final corner. There is just one car's width towards the inside. He takes that inside line and moves past Weller. Now, can Weller counter this one on the main straight? Looks like Pushka got a good exit. Weller now in the slipstream with that fresh engine, trying to fight this. But Pushka shows him the outside line, and that is, I think, move complete.
Vela, not rolling over there. Can tell he's got the performance this afternoon and is fighting it hard. And we know that the SCMM has a new engine in it, but straight line speed has been an Achilles heel. As you can see, when there's another car with a fresh engine in, very much had to get on the defensive there. So an important lap now for Philip Pushka to try and build a little bit of a gap so Vela isn't on the attack when they reach those big straights once again. In the meantime, we join the fight for 12th place. Dominic Rustamidis behind Gustavo Frigoto. And Jean Polaro, Infernal Void, just behind. So far, rain holding at 15%, track wetness ranging between 0 and 60, so steady stream. Remember, there is only wet tyres this season. There are no inters, so they have to manage the crossover period from a wet tyre to a dry tyre. There is no middle stepping stone for them to use. But at the minute, no question about what tyre they should be on at this point.
Yeah, these are encouraging signs also for Bravo Snow Shatten, as we see Pushka is past La Flamme already.
Oh, wow, he's made very, very quick work there. And in fact, Denny Vella is coming past. Has there been a mistake for Axel Laflamme there, maybe coming into that? Picked out turn 14 as a potential trouble point. Has there maybe been a moment? Laflamme is trying to fight back. He's got the inside line for the final corner. He's going to hold out for now. And Denny Vella is going to fight back. Misha Smith, in the meantime, up to 6th behind, continuing his recovery. He's just overtaken Yanis Volborn. It's an interesting moment, as obviously Yanis Volborn is a team boss for HRT, who's just signed on Misha Smith for next season. So Misha Smith just making sure that, reassuring Yanis Volborn there, that the correct decision has indeed been made as he continues his charge up through the field. Laflamme, though, back ahead of Vella. Definitely think there may have been an incident there for him, maybe losing it into 14.
Well, at the moment, running in P5, looking at the best result in WMSC history for Lucky Hamish Racing. His best finish this season with that team was 6th in Italy, Hungary, and San Marino. He managed that, and this is what happened to Axel Laflamme. And yes, you were absolutely right, just as you predicted. Going into that turn 14, just lost it, went off the track.
It is an awkward line, entry line, and this is maybe personal preference. I've always found that a very tricky corner to get right, and it's very easy to kind of, when you want to take a wider line in, maybe get a wheel on the curb, and especially in these conditions, that's just going to drag you out there. So might claim a few people this afternoon, turn 14. In the meantime, Victor B has just been moved out of the points positions by Aaron Curtis. So Curtis now getting his United Racing Club power into the top 10. Victor B will have to try and fight back. Somehow, it looks like Curtis has the pace at the moment settling into these conditions.
Yeah, and at the minute, interesting at the top, Lucas Murno, he was once over 1 second clear of Pascal Polens. But Polens, well, he's closed that gap somewhat and now holds it consistently around that 1 minute mark. Comparison of the last lap times, Lucas Murner was doing a 1:53.1. Pascal Polens' last lap a 1:52.9. Peter Pushko 1:53.1, just as Lucas Murner, so he is holding that gap steady.
I wonder if Gabriel Peckley's had another disconnect at some point, because he's now showing us 2 laps down, and I didn't think he was gone that long to be a full 2 laps down.
No, when he came out, I think he was still on the lead lap, but 50 or somewhat seconds down. So yeah, there definitely was another disconnect for Gabriel Peckley, I think.
He's going to need maybe a safety car or two to hope up points for him this afternoon, but as always is the case with disconnects, always good to see drivers coming back and at least trying and seeing what they can do. It is such a frustrating thing to happen, and it's out of your control. But for sim racing, that is kind of your equivalent mechanical failure, if you like. In the meantime, Misha Smith is going wide into 14, but then trying to cut in for a better exit, and that would have worked, but unfortunately there was a car in the way, so he couldn't sweep through, but he's tucked up right under the rear wing now, Denny Vella. Is he going to set something up into the final turn? Onto braking into the big sweeping left-hander around the grandstand. And it's a very nicely taken move, and Misha Smith into the top 5.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Murno and Polens, they are going at it. 0.2 seconds now the gap between these two, and now we see them on track, and they were fighting into turn 1 apparently.
Yes, it looks like Polens must have got a good exit out of that final corner and was well in the slipstream. And Murno maybe took a little bit too much out of his wet tyres too early, because Polens is back. And it's worth noting, rain is down to 5%, so it's still a wet track. But they're going to have to keep an eye on if that rain is slowing to a halt. But it might easily pick back up again. Who knows?
Yeah, and we have to keep in mind, I think the race, it was Spa-Francorchamps. These wet tyres, they tend to fall off a cliff at one point. Because this was where Alexander Knežević took a sensational P2 by judging these tyres absolutely to perfection. Well, we got very confused what he was doing, and he absolutely made the right call. So, I wonder if we see that again today, and if Murno has reached that point.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who goes for a more aggressive maneuver, more aggressive kind of push on these tyres, who's going to try and save and make them last, how long they last indeed. Obviously, there's quite a few faster sweeping corners on this circuit that will take the life out of the tyre. Into the final corner we go. Murno certainly isn't going to the pits just yet. Half a second around abouts coming out the final corner. Poland's in the slipstream. I think he might be a little bit further back, though, this time, so not going to be getting on the attack into 1 on this occasion.
Yeah, and what is also very interesting is, well, track wetness, it shows us 0 to 60% for us, but there is a bit of spray, and then at some parts of the track, there is absolutely no spray. And looking at the lap times, Lucas Murno, his last lap was 3.5 seconds down on his fastest lap, and this is despite the track obviously getting drier. So I think these tyres might get close to the end of their lifetime.
Yeah, after just 10 laps. So that we will be seeing a lot of pit stops this afternoon if it stays wet, which we are expecting it to kind of do so. We're expecting a storm phase in this race, which is kind of due up next with a probability of 38%. And we've got a back marker already. I think this is Torino in the way. He's hopefully going to not cause too many problems for the leaders. And Torino does get well out of the way.
I think he went even off the track there.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, I suppose. In the meantime, Yannis Volborn has just gotten past Denny Vella for 6th, so Volborn making more forward momentum. Vella seemingly struggling, but at least still in the points for now, ahead of both Potenzas and the United Racing Club car of Aaron Curtis. In the meantime, though, Out of turn 14 we go. Really important exit here. About half a second. And actually, Murno seems to be getting the hammer down and moving a little bit clear.
Yeah, I think now they're just trying to extend this stint to change for slicks. I think that has to be the goal at the moment, because you don't want to go for a second set of wets when the track is getting drier. But slowly, Pushka is reeling these two in. The gap was once over 8 seconds. It's down to 6.6 now.
I feel like Pushka has always been quite good on his tyres as well. So despite the fact that he's been kind of working his way through the field, I don't think he's like kind of taken too much life out of them. In terms of the last lap, he was nearly a second faster than Lucas Murno. And in fact, he was a second faster than Pascal Polands. So he's moving really well and kind of looking after those wet tyres very well indeed at the moment. In the meantime, rain has dropped to 0% for the first time. Obviously, track's still wet, but as you pointed out, it's very much in fits and starts. Some track, as you can see, the spray here, very heavy, but then as we move out into turn 1, there's none there at all.
Rustermeyer just runs a bit white there. And this was what I was about to say. Oh, yes! Oh! Frigoto tries to close the door with Rustermeyer still alongside, side by side. They now go towards turn 4. And it looks like Frigoto is remaining in 12th. And yeah, that was what I was about to say. It's encouraging for Bravo Snow Shatton to see them actually be able to fight as Frigoto runs wide. And he's spun half rounds by Rustermeyer and Victor B says thank you very much. And moves up 2 positions. Oh, it's Polaro, sorry.
Interesting one, that, because obviously, yeah, I think Frigoto tried to close the door when I think he's just given that back there, Rustermeyer. I think he knows that that second incident was maybe on him, albeit completely accidental, because obviously Frigoto was struggling with the car under throttle. But that first one, it's a bit of an interesting one. Pushka's in. Pushka is in. We were just saying how well he's done at looking after his tyres. But he's the first one of the top 3 to blink. And maybe he's going to try for an undercut here, knowing how much life there is in these tyres. But then again, is he going to make the risk for dry tyres?
Oh, I see on the timing screen it is dries. It is dries.
This is a very big risk considering how changeable the conditions are for Filip Pushka.
The thing is, Gagiano has been in and he is on dries. I think Gagiano was trying it out. Gagiano is on the option, which is the medium. Filip Pushka now out on the prime, which is the hard, and more drivers follow his example. Meneghetti, Vela, Machado, Curtis, they're all in and going for dry tyres. And if this works, this might be a huge advantage now for Filip Pushka.
This is interesting because obviously Gagiano has tried it out, but he's still on an out lap, so we don't know what his lap time is. So it'll be really interesting when Gagiano does cross the line to see how quick he is, and if it is the right call at the moment. But you know, we see some people come out on dry tyres and immediately struggle. Pushka is at least keeping it on the road, but I feel there's a little bit of tiptoeing going on as he tries to feel it out. He certainly doesn't want to get lost out in the gravel trap. Oh, and it's very tense stuff indeed.
The thing is, we don't have a lap time from Gagiano, but Gagiano will definitely be able to tell his teammate how those tires feel, but that doesn't look very quick.
No, I'm looking at the representative sector times of Gino Gagiano. His middle sector was 7 seconds slower than the sectors that Lucas Murno and Pascal Polands are currently doing on those worn, wet tyres. I don't think this is the move yet. I don't think it's the move at all. And I think Filip Pushka is now losing a lot of time. And maybe he'll be on the right tyre in a few laps' time if the track continues to dry. But at the minute, it's not. And I think it's costing him time. Look how much he's having to tiptoe through that final corner, and he's going to be struggling to get heat in the tyres as well at this point. He might even be under threat from Victor B, who's on the wets behind him. In the meantime, Murno and Poland continue their battle up front, certainly not concerned about the undercut at this point. And in the meantime, Dominic Rustemeyer has been given a given a 5-second time penalty, for ignoring race control instructions. So that's going to make his afternoon a little bit more painful. But as it stands, Poland still powering round. Question is, what do they do when it's time for them to come in? Because obviously those tyres are past their best, and they're going to be getting a lot worse because there are parts of the track that are drying. Temperatures are going to be going up. What do they do? It's a really difficult decision. We saw Knežević made the wrong call in Spa. He went on to another set of wets when the track was drying, and it really cost him. And obviously these guys are trying to ignore and not make that mistake again, as we have a car spinning out the final corner. Looked somewhat orange. In the meantime, into one we go. Poland has half a look there. It's almost completely dry through turn one.
Yeah, and encouraging signs for Filip Puška. His middle sector was quicker than Lukas Murno's middle sector this lap. So I think the turning point might be right now. So in the first sector he was losing 2 seconds on this lap. Middle sector gaining a couple of tenths. Meneghetti and Zubair had a coming together apparently. No further action though from race control.
This is interesting. Now is this the lap where these two maybe get into the pits? Obviously the longer they stay out, the longer Filip Puška will take advantage of being on a fresh set of dry tyres on a dry track.
Yeah, I think we are close to that turning point. First and third sectors. This is where Puška lost out. Last lap was a 155.8. Murno's last lap 152.5. So again, he lost over 3 seconds. But I think with every lap, this will improve, and maybe this could be the first one where Puška is actually quicker.
Apologies, I am having a few issues on my end just with the stream. I do just get in time to see that Pascal Polens has peeled off into the pits. And he is going to make the call, so he's going to attempt the undercut on Murno now. So this is a really important for Lukas Murno. He's got to make this as quick and as tidy as possible. What tie does he go to? Also, where does Polens come out in relation to Filip Puška? I think he should come out ahead of Puška, because there was a lot of time lost on those first few laps when Puška was on that tyre. Polens looks like he's gone for the hard tyre as well. Smith and Volborn have gone in behind as well. Out comes Poland. Laflamme also in the pits. And yeah, he's comfortably out ahead of Puška. I think Puška should get himself up to third. Oh, maybe not. He struggled around that final corner. And yeah, people still getting stuck on the wet stuff, so Puška might be back out in sixth still.
But I think Pascal Polens has timed this to perfection. Despite that last corner there, Filip Puška, the lap time this lap is pretty much on par with what Lukas Murno was doing. So I think right now this might be the time to switch for the rest of the drivers that are still out on the wets. No new rain falling at the moment.
It does seem to be just that final stretch of the lap, really, that you've got to manoeuvre, and if you can do, you should be okay.
Yeah, now Filip Puška has just gone purple in the first sector, so I think we might see a new fastest lap of this race if he continues like that, and Lukas Murno reacts and goes in. And let's see if Pascal Polens can take advantage of the undercut there.
Here we go. So, into the pit lane for Lucas Murno. What tyre does he go for? Gabriel Peckley, in the meantime, setting a fastest lap of the race. Here comes Pascal Polens. He's powering down, but obviously Murno is at the end of the pit lane. This could be close. Here comes Murno. I think it's going to be the momentum for Polens that's going to carry him through. He is indeed. Pascal Polens takes the lead. Perfectly timed pit stop from him. Now, obviously, your screen is showing wet ball tyres there from Murno. I think that's just a graphical error. My timing screen is saying there's also hard tyres on that car as well. So both of them having gone for the hard tyres. Misha Smith and Jans Volbon just behind have gone for the mediums, while Laflamme is on the hards and Pushka is on the hards.
But Pushka lost out big time here. He's dropped behind Misha Smith, Janis Volbon, and Axel Laflamme, who all made their pit stops as well. And he might have been the fastest car by a country mile there this lap. 1:46.2, but yeah, 21 seconds down on race leader Polens. That was 6 seconds before the pit stop.
Yeah, obviously he's at least got his tyres up to temperature and is bedded in on the dry tyre, so he's moving quicker at the moment. But yeah, he's lost track position and quite a lot of times. I think he's gone slightly too early there, and obviously he's going to be fighting people who have fresher tyres, and even Smith and Volborn, they're on fresher tyres and a softer compound, which, considering we're expecting more rain again, maybe the medium to be able to attack a little bit harder at this point is the choice to make, but we will see. If the rain doesn't come back or lingers, Smith and Molborn might be in an awkward situation where they have to stop again for dry tyres before they need to put on another wet tyre. We'll just have to see how it pans out. It's hard to tell at this point. It's all guesswork. But Murno is already behind. Oh, Polens is round. Polens has spun out of the final corner. Lucas Murno is back into the lead, and it's a big mistake for Pascal Polens, getting caught on the wet part of the track on the dry tyres. Murno was already closing in, and it's a huge mistake.
And Wilborn must have had one as well, because Wilborn was ahead of Laflamme and Pushka, and he's dropped down to sixth.
Yeah, a good spot indeed. Yes, he was. So, clearly, the wetter parts of this track are catching people out. Philip Pushka is maximising, though, massively at this point. Here comes Janis Volborn. It's turn 14, and he's just gone a little bit wide there on the mediums. It's an uncharacteristic mistake for Janis Volborn, but it's these conditions and a tricky corner, and it catches him out. Meantime, on board with Philip Pushka, who is now trying to repass Axel Laflamme. Be interesting to see what the comparative times are from other people, but he's the only person so far in the 1:42s for those on the dry tyre. But with another lap, car off the road there. I think that was a back marker. Meantime, Fragoto spinning out of the final corner. That was Brzezinski. So, dear me. So both Bravo Snowshattens in solidarity spinning it around the same time. That's a car without a wing. Is that Janis Volborn?
No, but
no, it's not.
He has a wing. It's just a bit of an hard to tell. I think last race I had a couple of times it was about, oh no, that's Wilborn without a front wing, but
it blended with the tarmac there for a moment.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, Philip Pushka is looking very, very comfortable. Those installation laps, if you like, are going well. But Lucas Murno into the 1:40s. He's putting the power down now and making it work. In the meantime, Laflamme is going to try and defend from Pushka. Got to be careful making the move here. This is where the wetness still is, and look at that. Laflamme through that puddle, as is Pushka. Both of them struggling. Car sliding behind. Not sure who that was. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is just literally out of the final corner and down the main straight. Otherwise, the rest of the track seems completely dry, and it's Gijano. Gijano has just recovered, and there's a Bravo Snowshatten in the wall. And this is the thing. It takes all the heat out of the tyres that you've built up over the lap, so it's even awkward to get going again. Brzezinski having a bit of a rough couple of laps here, it has to be said.
Yeah, in the background, I think Chirino had the same issue. B is struggling. Oh dear, oh dear.
There's another car drifting around in the background as well, as B just manages to keep it going. That's Curtis. It is very, very difficult indeed. Fragoto, oh my goodness, and almost a collision. Fragoto sliding. this is the thing. It's all the way down the main straight, so they're struggling just applying the power all the way down.
Yeah, maybe we can just stay there in the final corner. This is where it all happens at the moment.
And that's why you pay the big bucks for those grandstand seats, guys. That's getting all the action through here. Meantime, Lucas Murno seeming unbothered by it, though. He goes even quicker, a 1 minute 39.5. Poland's is 7.6 seconds down. He timed it to perfection. He'd taken the lead. But yeah, that is a big mistake and a very costly one indeed. But as it stands, Laflamme, though, is now starting to kind of tuck into it. 1 minute 39.2. Considering Pushka was looking at making the move on Laflamme, Laflamme has found something in reserve and has put a little gap on Philip Pushka.
Yeah, Pushka also had a very big moment when he was fighting with Laflamme out of the final corner, and he has not recovered from that. In fact, the gap's gone up. Still. He's now 24 seconds behind race leader Murno. And Murno is also going quicker than Pascal Poland. And the thing is, Lucas Murno, he might not be able to win the championship here today, but of course he can set himself up very nicely to seal it at Suzuka in 2 weeks. Because as it stands, Poland needs to outscore Murno at Suzuka. So if they finish like they do right now, Murno has it all in his own hands to already win the championship in Japan.
Absolutely, and also as it stands, if Philip Pushka were to finish where he is right now and Murno were to win the race, Philip Pushka would mathematically be out of the championship fight, as Murno would outscore Pushka by 9 points, taking him away from the challenge. So Pushka needs to gain at least 1 spot, ideally a couple more if he can, but
oh, Poland must have had another moment. Last lap was a 144.3 gap to Murno, up to 14.6 now, and Smith is just 3-4 seconds behind him now.
And Murno has just gone purple in the first sector. Again, Murno has locked in, is finding the grip, is just not bothered by that final corner, it seems. And he is finding the pace and the performance at just the right moment. And this is huge, huge for this afternoon. Because at the moment where it looked like the race was going away from him, he's kept his head and has now built up a big, big gap indeed.
Oh, there is a Potenza facing the wrong way on the racing line. That is super dangerous.
It's not a good place to have that. In the meantime, Dominic Rustemeyer is showing as DNF. Not sure if that was an incident or a disconnect, but he may be our first retirement of the day. Pushka is slowly closing the gap again to Axel Laflamme. Murno goes, he's just taking off a second every single lap. 140, 139, 138, now 137 dead. Through the final corner we go, and Laflamme, a little bit of a slide, as does Pushka. Oh, and that's Smith ahead, who's had a moment through that final corner, so they're both going to catch up with him. And all of a sudden, it's a 3-way fight for third. What can Axel Laflamme do? Just doesn't dive in, doesn't go for the opportunist move. He's going to be tucked right up behind. Philip Pushka's coming with them, and here we go on the run up to turn 4. Is Axel Laflamme going to have a look? Remember, Smith has a new engine in the back of the HRT, so he's got at least something to defend with. Not this time. So it's an important lap here because they're all going to be lining each other up. Out of 14 for 15. So they've got to stick with each other through the twistier middle section of the lap.
And while this is happening, Lucas Murno is on a fastest lap again. First 2 sectors purple.
Surely looking to break into the 136s. Oh, and Brzezinski has been given a 5-second time penalty for unsafe passing under blue flags. In the meantime, though, into turn 14 we go. The exits this one all important. And as it stands, Smith has done an incredible job. It's another 0.7 of a second quicker on his previous best for Lucas Murno. It's relentless stuff from him. As it stands, no one looking at making a move, though, for third place. Here comes Smith. He's going on the wider line there, and they all have to be careful now because this exit point is where the spray is. There is notably less spray there, though, it has to be said. The biggest moment from Max Laflamme has managed to correct it without issue. I don't think Philip Pushka is going to be close enough to make a move this time. Oh, Laflamme going a little bit deep, though, into one. Oh, and has to cut back across. And I think Pushka has to maybe slow down a little bit. I think Smith might have survived that scare, and actually Laflamme may have to switch his mindset from attack to defence here. As Pushka's getting closer and closer again.
Yeah, and this is the thing now. This is again the SCMM that is down on horsepower, even with that new engine. It was okay in the rain because you can find grip elsewhere and set moves up that you could not do in the dry. But now, it usually is down to slipstream on the straights and then try to outbrake the other car into a heavy braking zone. But the straight line speed for Philip Pushka is just not there again.
And obviously the Vanguard has always been very good in a straight line as well. And Laflamme is probably still close enough to be getting a little bit of a tow as well from Smith too. As Murno, again, another fastest lap. Just he's still finding time. And the gap is stabilising between him and Poland's, but he's done the damage when it counts. A very important few laps. In the meantime, Smith taking that slightly wider line through the final corner.
Oh,
and Laflamme's lost it. Just finds the wet stuff. The pressure was telling there from Philip Pushka. On the Flam down to 5th. He's got Yanis Volborn about 4 seconds behind him. But Pushka regains a place. Is he going to be able to try and challenge Misha Smith? Well, better Julia in his way at the moment, who does indeed move out the way. That's cost him a little bit of time, though, and he's going to have to try and reel Smith back in. And if we keep one eye on the weather, though, it has to be said, because Smith is on the medium tyre. How long will those mediums last? And will we see the rain return again? So, a really important phase of the race. Pushka's done an incredible job with his engine penalty to get back into contention and was reeling in the top 2 before the first pit stops, but it's been an early change to dry tyres that seems to have cost him. He has at least worked his way back up to 4th. He's going to have to work for podium position, but after that he is a long way back from Poland and Murno. In the meantime, Poland seemed to have timed his pit stop to perfection, but unfortunately a mistake, and then Lucas Murno just finding all the grip and working the dry tyres perfectly on the drying track means he is now 17 seconds clear. I wonder if Poland's has had another moment, because that seems to have just shot up a little bit more. In the meantime, we join the battle for 8th. Matej Fajardo is holding off Victor B in the Infernal Void. B back in the points. What we can do is Philip Pushka suddenly finding a load of pace and going into the 135s there. Pushka is on the charge for Smith, it seems.
And then if he gets past Smith, it's not a huge gap to Poland's. As it stands, 8 seconds, 8-ish seconds. So if he gets past quickly, the gap might be just about where it was ahead of the pit stops.
Yeah, the big swinging difference is obviously Murno has managed to get so clear and been so ruthless in those few laps. Meantime, B, my goodness, seemed to be like, I'm not sure if B was braking late or if Fajardo was braking early, but the closing speed there I think caught everyone off guard. He's in the slipstream. He's going to have a look into turn 1, I think. Maybe not. Maybe it was a little bit of hesitance from Mahado because he knows there's still a wet patch there coming out of the final corner. Track wetness is down from 0 to 15%. Where at its peak it was up at 60. In the meantime, here is Pushka approaching that part of the track. Typical that it is one of the ideal places to make an overtake. Smith sticking with that wider run through the final corner. A little bit of a twitch from Pushka on exit. But holding on this time.
This is also one of the things I always loved about this circuit, because you can take different lines, especially in these changing conditions. And it works. And this first sequence of corners, turns 1 and 2, it's so nice to battle there, because there is a chance to fight back or to set yourself up for a move into the second part of that corner. I think this is really one of Herman Tilke's finest track designs, this one. Maybe even the best he's ever created.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. The only other circuit I think comes close is I do like Turkey. Istanbul Park is a very solid circuit indeed. And I'm trying to think which else are his. I mean, there's Abu Dhabi, I believe, was his originally, which I think has only been improved since in the past few years since those changes, which I believe Karen Chandok was involved with those tweaks, if I remember rightly. That have kind of softened out. So it's not the worst of his tracks, but I certainly think it's been improved over time without him. And I can't think.
But Bahrain and China also, the Shanghai circuit, I think. These two are also from him. So Shanghai is okay. Oh, there's someone off at the final corner, almost getting into the way of that.
Oh,
and
Pushka's been caught. Pushka's been caught. Oh, and we have a Bravo Snow Shattered in the wall, and that is car with a big crash. Is that car going to attempt to keep going? No. Full course yellow called. Brzezinski tries to get going. Almost onto the racing line. And we might have to take a look again at what happened, who tripped over who, but Philip Pushka has just lost a lot of time. He has managed to hold on to fourth, albeit there's only half a second now between him and Axel Laflamme. But Misha Smith is in the clear for now, and Gustavo Brzezinski is in big trouble. But he's still going. And here is what happened. So, we follow Gustavo Brzezinski. So he goes wide round here. And then this is going to be an unsafe rejoin. Oh wow. There's several. No, that's Pushka there. I think that was Gajano who had the moment. So actually, yeah, it's not. I think Pushka losing it isn't Brzezinski's fault directly. Pushka's had to go around Brzezinski. It's put him on the wet part of the track, and he's slid. And then Brzezinski has also lost it himself, but then nearly very much with an unsafe rejoin there. But people still struggling on the exit of that final corner with that damp patch on the track.
Yeah, I think that is probably what caught Pushka out. I think now we're going to see a replay from Pushka's perspective. So again, it's Misha Smith with the wide line. Then there is another car. This is not Brzezinski. This is Frigoto. Or is it
Oh, no, that is Brzezinski. It is an unsafe rejoin from Brzezinski. Yeah, so he has kind of done an unsafe rejoin. So yeah, I'd take that back. Yeah, I think Philip Pushka there has a right to feel a bit of grief. That's an unsafe rejoin from Brzezinski. It's forced him onto the wet stuff. And yeah. But there were a couple of people ahead still having issues as well, which also would have made things a bit awkward. In the meantime, a couple of people in to take some new tyres. Denny Vella is in for his second stop. We've got Machado. We've got one of the, I think it's that Palauro. And Victor B is in.
Well, this is an interesting pit exit.
I think he'll just have to settle for going in behind Mahado. In the meantime, Murno is in. Rain is not falling. I think the situation is much the same. The track is dry apart from that final corner and part of the start-finish straight. So Philip Pushka here coming through turn 14.
Just
We
go.
will...
Oh, Poland stays out. This is interesting. So he
Oh,
doesn't.
no.
Oh no, he
He's
doesn't.
in.
He
Yep, he
doesn't.
goes
Yeah.
wide. This very misleading entrance to that pit lane, I find. But yeah, so Poland's in as well. I imagine most of the top guys follow suit and go in.
And more bad news for Pushka because he will not be able to do that. Because LaFlamme, I think, will just do the opposite of what Pushka does.
Yeah, and obviously LaFlamme's tyres are newer than Pushka's.
Yeah.
But will they all take the advantage of just fresh rubber anyway? This will be interesting. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, I think Pushka has to try something because he's really on the back foot. So I suppose, yes, he's going in. What does LaFlamme do? He
LaFlamme's in.
follows him. Okay. So he doesn't take a track position. Woolborn is just behind them as well, so this
Yes.
could still be interesting. It's all down to the pit crew now.
Yeah, remember, pit crews are one of the things that can be upgraded and changed in WMSC. So not all pit crews are created equal, so a quicker pit stop could very much change things here. So, almost an unsafe rejoin there from the Better Julie. The Better Julia does just wait in time. Here comes LaFlamme. I think it's just going to return in race order. So no changes in the pit lane there. Oh, no, actually.
Woolborn is past LaFlamme.
No, Volborn's passed. Volborn has managed to get out ahead of LaFlamme.
So unsurprisingly, I just got news from race control. This will not be upgraded to a full safety car, unsurprisingly, because there is no car stranded on track. This was all a reaction to the chaos out of the final corner, which I think is a sensible decision to then, put out the full course yellow. And this will going to be a very long pit stop for Gustavo Brzezinski.
Indeed. In the meantime, Gabriel Peckley is showing his DNF again. Is that another disconnect? Maybe he's just called it a day. He was, I think, 3 laps down. So yeah, Gabriel Peckley out for Scuderia Cesario. As it stands, though, Lucas Murno is in the position where he is keeping Cesario in the constructors' fight, being in the lead of this race. And the full course yellow is ending in 3, 2, 1, and we are off and running. Pushka away from Volborn, away from LaFlamme. These are the closest 3 on track. And at the minute, it looks like LaFlamme almost got the jump on Volborn, but he's going to be hard pressed to make a move into 7. There's a heavier braking zone up ahead into turn 9. He's being sent to the outside. LaFlamme goes for it. Oh, he drifts almost. Manages to keep hold of it. It's a bold move, but he's managed to hang on. He may have to wait, though, for the run from down to 14 and 15. Now, obviously, everyone is going to have fresh tyres and colder tyres. No new rain falling, but that wet patch is still there coming out of turn 15. So, Volborn has been a little bit better through 14. I think he should just have enough to hang on for now. And Philip Pushka is checked out from these two while they fought with each other. How will they handle this final corner? Everyone so tentative. Oh, and yeah, Volborn had a moment. LaFlamme sensed that could have been an opportunity to get past and has put throttle. And while he's trying to control the car, he nearly gets hit / slides into the path of a Potenza. And LaFlamme now is very much in 6th. And here comes Mateus Machado. Into turn 14, he's being chased by Victor B. Majority of people taking more hard tyres, with the exception of Mateus Machado. Only him and Aaron Curtis on mediums in the top 10. Everyone else just... And Brzezinski has been given a 10-second time penalty for that unsafe rejoin, which caused an incident for Philip Pushka. In the meantime, Lucas Burdo has just picked back up where he left off into the 1 minute 34s, and he's just seemingly better than everyone else this afternoon at finding the grip straight away and getting the pace. He's just found a way to take that final corner without being bothered, and the rest of the track he can just focus on lapping as quickly as possible. He's absolutely nailing it this afternoon. This is huge for him.
Yeah, and he's now a pit stop clear pretty much of Pascal Poland. So whatever happens with the conditions, as Pushka just went past Misha Smith and is now down to fifth. Oh dear.
I wonder if there's been a moment for both of them there. Smith's gotten going, but now, incredibly, how things change. Volborn's up to third. Smith is to fourth. Laflamme's back ahead of Pushka. We'll see. We can get a replay of what just happened, but that final corner is causing absolute chaos for third to sixth place specifically, more than anyone else. That's crazy.
I mean, I can imagine it's even worse if you're fighting with someone. I think Lucas Murno and Pascal Polens have the advantage of just focusing on themselves, while Philip Pushka is trying to make moves into that corner, and that, yeah, that seems to cause some trouble. So here's the replay.
So we've
Again,
got Misha
there's a Bravo Snow Shatter.
There is. Misha Smith. So Misha Smith loses it on his own. And then it's an unsafe rejoin. Misha Smith, I think, might have an unsafe rejoin. So he's effectively clattered in. And for the second time in this race, Philip Pushka has to deal with a car on the outside of the final corner coming into his path. And I think Misha Smith might get a penalty for that. In the meantime, Pascal Polens responds with the fastest lap of his own. Victor B on the attack into turn 4. And it's defended well by Mateus Majado, but B is getting closer and closer, despite Majado being on the softer, more aggressive tyre.
Yeah, but what a return to WMSC for Victor B. His last race was at Belgium, there he finished 13th. And then before he had his best finish this season in Hungary, a P5. I don't think he will get this today as it stands. But he is on for a good points finisher today.
Speaking of best finishes, Velocita currently have a car up in third. We overlook it because obviously the driver is the brilliant Janus Volborn, but it's a Velocita, and they have been nowhere near the podium positions this season. As it stands, Janus Volborn is currently in a podium spot. There's still many ways that it could change. You're looking at one of them right now, that exit out of turn 15, but it's another fine drive from Janus Volborn. And we'll keep an eye on that. But Smith, Laflamme and Pushka all will have something to say about that as the race goes on.
Lucas Murno, in the meantime, has just taken the fastest lap away from Pascal Polens again. And this is also very interesting because there is the fastest lap competition, which is a separate championship, if you will. As the driver who achieves the most fastest laps this season will get another cash prize. And right now, it's a tie. 5-5 between Lucas Murno and Pascal Polens, as Misha Smith has just, as you predicted, Ash, received a 10-second time penalty for an unsafe rejoin there on the final corner against Philip Pushka.
Obviously the precedent been set with Brzezinski, who literally unsafe rejoined on the poor, same unsuspecting Philip Pushka. Smith can serve that over the course of 2 pit stops, or it will be added in part or in full to his time at the end of the race. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So as it stands, Smith currently running P4, likely to drop to at least P6 as it stands. On board with Smith now. As Murno goes slightly quicker again, pressing home that advantage. Victor B, though, tucked up under the rear wing of Machado. This is close indeed. Machado goes defensive. B to the outside. B, though, stays in the middle of the road, trying to not allow Machado as much room as possible. A little bit cheeky from Machado to bump him wide, but B tries to send it, but then Machado switches back underneath. Oh, a little bit elbows out, but just the right side of the line. B, though, is clearly itching to get past. He's being shown the outside by Mahado. Good car positioning there. And the fight will continue for at least another lap. But here they're causing B a little bit of an issue there through turn 5. He's going to have to regroup and try again.
Yeah, but it was the classical turn 1, 2, 3 battle that you see so often at Malaysia. Brilliant driving by both of them. Bit of contact there, but I think they both should be fine.
Yeah, I think that clatter was a little bit cheeky from Mahado. He almost made it work to his advantage to kind of swing back through, but then, yeah, the up and under from Mahado on the exit. B now about second away. He's going to have to work to get through it. LaFlamme now is past Smith. And I do wonder if there has just been another moment. Not that part of the track. I think LaFlamme might have made a move there.
But were they close before? I don't know. I thought that Misha Smith had a couple of seconds advantage.
I was a couple of seconds. Oh yeah, maybe it was, but Smith must have lost it at a different place to where everyone else has, and might be a bit of an unorthodox one there.
I mean, we saw some people struggle out of turn 4 as well in qualifying, and that could have been they were. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll get a replay. But at the moment, this is Philip Pushka seeing that rear wing again.
These have been in every single possible combination at one point this afternoon. As you can see, it's not perfect. It's looking a little bit drier through there. Track wetness 0 to 5%. I believe the entirety of that 5% is just parked on the exit of turn 15 as we get that replay. So Misha Smith, and as you predicted, I think you might be right here. This is up to turn 4. Oh, yeah. And a weird snap under braking there. So rather under throttle there on the exit. Yeah, it's kind of on entry to turn 4.
This is interesting. I wonder if he just broke a little bit too late there. But, yeah, we haven't seen this one this entire afternoon yet.
Oh, he's currently keeping pace at the moment. There is LaFlamme, Smith and Pushka all together. But while these fight, Janus Volborn will be happy. Holding on to that final podium spot.
Yeah, his lap times are good. But last lap he was a bit quicker even than Axel LaFlamme behind him. So, I think B just made it past, but no, it's going back and forth again, and it's again turns 1 and 2. But this time, B has done inside line full turn 2, and I think unless Machado tries anything unusual into turn 4, which he does.
Yeah, job just about done there by Victor B. Interesting to see if Machado can stay with him. I think B has been looking the race of the two and might have the opportunity now to try and get away from the Potenza. And elbows well and truly out between those two, but very nicely done in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a great battle between the two of them. Really came alive these last couple of laps. But I think, yeah, as you said, Victor B is going to run away with it now. Gap already up to 0.7 seconds, while LaFlamme, Smith and Pushka are now all quite close together. There might be another opportunity coming up now as they approach turn 9, I think it is. There is a car in the way. Gabriel Joubert.
Something to keep an eye on as we approach the big overtaking opportunities for these three. Rain, 5%. So it is starting to very lightly rain in parts of the track. Oh, and in fact, we can see it there as Pushka looks to the inside of Smith for 14. Half an opportunity, but the momentum kind of just sucked out of him. It was going into a gap that's always going to close, so Pushka kind of bailing out of it. And interesting now, how much and how quickly is this rain going to fall? No, Malaysia has its opportunities for it to turn so quickly, to go from 0 to a lot. It's looking a lot darker under the main straight already. This could be something to keep an eye on, or it might just ease off and be dry again. Who knows? I'm sure that they will be keeping one eye on that, all the team bosses and the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. But what that definitely means is that the situation out of the final corner, which has still been tricky, it's rather getting worse again now with some rain falling. Because this corner just, it doesn't seem to dry out at all, as we have Gustavo Frigoto in the pits. And is he trying to jump the gun here and go for a very early switch to the wet tires? Yes, indeed he is. Ah,
Oof, dear me, Pushka. Oh, he's just slipping on the exit curb from turn 8 there. Has to catch a slide there. As going back to what you're saying about Frigoto, the tyres should work, but he might burn through them very quickly at this rate because most of the track is still dry.
yeah, also the lap times with the wet tires that they were able to do, 150s. Right now, the car's on track. So Lucas Murno's last lap was a 133.9. Still very far away from the wet times. And I don't know if this is a graphical glitch or if Frigoto really is in the pit still. Over 1 minute now.
Yeah.
I think he is, yeah.
Oh, well, he was stationary for so long, his engine was starting to smoke. And Diogo Meneghetti has been given a drive-through penalty for causing a collision.
And I think he just is side by side going into turn 1 with Gagiano.
Yeah. Gagiano's just gotten past there. I wonder who he caused that collision with. But either way, drive-through for him. Gagiano up to 13th. He's been nowhere really this afternoon, but he's slowly working his way back up. 20 laps to go.
Yeah, one thing I think we can definitely say is that SCMM is out of the team's championship. I'm not even sure if they were mathematically still in it ahead of this race. But I think with this result, Pushka currently running 6th, although just behind Misha Smith. Yeah, this is not enough to stay within reach of Vanguard.
In the meantime, Philip Pushka back within reach of Misha Smith. And through the final corner we go. Ironically, now rain is falling elsewhere. It seems like that patch for this corner has actually dried up. But if it does continue to fall, it won't be for very long. It's a good run from Philip Pushka. It looks so dark under the grandstands there, compared to when you come out through turn 1. Pushka, not this time around. Laflamme, in the meantime, just slightly sloping off the road. And the gap is coming down between him and Volborn now as well. So only 4 seconds now. So things turning again. Momentum's shifting within these point-scoring positions.
Yeah, I think that the suspicion for me is creeping in that Volborn has rather set his car up for the dry conditions, because this was where he was on par with Laflamme. Now that the rain falls again, he is dropping back. And when it was raining, he was struggling a bit. He had a moment off track, and he was definitely further down the order.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I just had a look at the forecast, the weather forecast. So heavy rain is forecast around the middle of this race. We already passed that halfway point. But towards the end, another heavy shower of rain is expected, and rain has just increased in intensity up to 15%.
Here comes Philip Pushka looking on for the final corner. Doesn't make a move, but Misha Smith is in. It'll be interesting to see what decision he makes here. Obviously, with rain going up, as you say, in intensity, And track wetness has also gone up as well. Volborn's in as well. And I wanted to point out that Volborn's last lap was about 2 seconds slower than Axel Laflamme's. So I wonder if maybe his dry tyres are also kind of at their limit. And like you say, the car's set up. So he's made that call. Volborn rejoins 5th. Smith will likely rejoin 6th ahead of Denny Vella. And both of them have gone for wet tyres. And in fact, this might be the start of that switch for people. The question is, how early is it? Obviously, when you're running on, a drier surface with hotter temperatures, it's going to maybe force you to stop again sooner. It's all about judging this crossover with no intermediate tyre. We will see. And now it says Murno is in the pits. Has Murno come in as well? From the lead,
so.
I think.
Yeah, it says he's on wets on my timing screen.
Yep, so he is making that call as well. I think he's been able to go in and out without issue. I don't think Pascal Polens has even stopped.
No, he hasn't. Oh, yes, now he is.
So here we go. So yeah, everyone has taken this as the opportunity to make the change. Remember, Smith was close to Laflamme and Pushka, so interesting to see what decision they make. Pushka was very close to Laflamme there, but both of them into the pits. An important pit stop, and will Misha Smith be able to gain anything? Will he potentially get ahead of either of them?
Yeah, and remember, Axel Laflamme's pit crew was quite slow the previous pit stop. He was jumped in the pits by Yannis Wolborn. Let's see if Philip Pushka may be able to do the same. So, they're both stopping now.
Oh my goodness, it's really close again, and I think Pushka's done it.
Yeah.
That's so frustrating. That's 2 positions lost for Axel Laflamme in pit stops. Misha Smith is out ahead, only just. A change order again. As it stands, Yannis Volborn, the gap was down to under 3 seconds, or around 3 seconds, I should say, to Axel Laflamme before these pit stops. Now it's back up to around 6. So see if Smith can kind of go on the attack, but he's going to have Pushka and Laflamme right behind him. Laflamme, I imagine, is going to be very keen to put the pressure immediately on Pushka while there's less than a second between them. Everyone has now stopped for wet tyres. Rain still falling at 15% intensity. And there has been some form of pit incident between Curtis and Brzezinski, but no further action from race control. As Philip Pushka looks to try and shut the gap to Smith ahead. Before he'd had a wet to dry transition, now it goes back the other way. How will this change things? And remember, as mentioned at the start, Vanguard set their cars up for the race with this in mind. 31 seconds, though, is a lot for Pascal Polens to try and gain in on Lucas Murno.
Yeah, absolutely. But the forecast out of this race said that it will rain most likely to the end now. So the dry period, I think we are past that point. So it will be interesting how this weather develops, and then again how these wet tires do act in these conditions. Because we still remember that race in Spa where I think they had to come in 2 times towards the end of the race because the tires were just getting so slow.
Oh, and Brzezinski has just been warned again for dangerous passing under blue flags. Rain up to 30%, so it is getting heavier, slowly but surely. And no one quite close enough or bold enough to make the moves just yet, but Pushka is making much more headway into Smith than Laflamme is into Pushka. It must feel like Groundhog Day for these 3, just constantly passing and repassing each other. trying to get somewhat closer to the podium positions, but never seemingly doing so.
Yeah, but these were the conditions where Philip Pushka was really strong at that first, and it all came undone when he pitted way too early for the dry tires. So maybe this is another opportunity for him. And of course, in these conditions, a safety car is always just around the corner, it feels. So, yeah, maybe there's still something in this race for Philip.
In the meantime, through the final corner. And Smith is just holding firm at the moment. Gap had gone under a second, but Pushka just not getting too close yet.
Oh, this looks painfully slow there out of turn 2.
Yeah, it just feel like waiting for an age for the car to kind of get through and straighten up to very slowly apply the power. You have to be careful, so careful. He's closing up through this section of the track, but this isn't really the part you want to be closer on. About kind of being close on that straighter section. Remember, Smith has a new engine in there too, so he has got the power to defend with.
Yeah, but I think Smith still has 5 seconds worth of penalty from his unsafe rejoin earlier. He was in the pit, so I suppose he might have already served 5 seconds of that penalty, because you can do that. But he definitely still has 5 seconds. But this won't help Pushka at the moment because he's losing time here. Time that he could definitely use to attack World 1 in P3.
Yeah, I think you're right here, and you know, at the minute, Smith is still looking at P6 with the remaining 5 seconds gone, assuming he'd served half of that in the pits when he stopped. In the meantime, Victor B is just holding off Mahado. He's still ahead of Mahado, not managed to pull away. In fact, it looks like with conditions changing, Mahado is kind of closing back in again.
So round 2 then, I guess, between these two. B is really struggling to get the power down there out of the slow hairpin.
He is, but the gap's just gone up slightly, so I feel like Machado is just having similar struggles at the moment.
The rain intensity has just gone up to 50%, so I think this is the heaviest we've seen it rain all day.
Yeah, track wetness is now back up from 0 to 60%, which is what it was at the start. But as you rightly point out, it wasn't raining as heavily as that when we began the race. Move down the start-finish straight. B is clear enough for now. Just patience and trying to find the moment as B trying to get the power on and a bit of impatience there. And this now gives a slight moment for Machado. I don't think he's going to have the time with the slipstream to kind of line up the move into 4. But it certainly brought him closer. Victor B has got to just focus on not putting a wheel wrong now, because that will give Machado the chance to pounce. Victor B this season has had a points finish, 5th
Oh, I think Machado had a bit of an issue there in the background.
Oh.
Lost the rear of the car. He kept it pointing the right direction, but he lost a couple of tenths there.
This is the important thing in these conditions. Opportunities to gain and lose time, to present themselves more freely. Expect to be 5th, his best result of the season so far. In Hungary, his only points finished so far. It could be second one today, regardless of his fight. With Machado, I should say. Pushka, in the meantime, hovering around 5-6 tenths away from Misha Smith. Not quite close enough to make the move yet. Through 14 we go.
Well, they're both reeling in Yannis Wolborn. He's just 3 seconds up the road.
If anything, when this camera flips around, we might see Yannis Volborn on screen. In fact, there he is, coming around the final corner. So, if anything, if these two don't fight, they're going to reel in Volborn quicker. Pushka still not quite in a position to make the move. They are putting on a little bit of a gap on Laflamme as well. Pushka closer through turn 1. He is, as noted, just patience. This and the fight between Machado and B, currently the two closest cars, or two sets of cars, I should say, on track. Fluctuating depending on what part of the circuit they're on. The view from Philip Pushka's car. He's not seeing very much at the back of that HRT as Smith has a little bit of a slide coming out of turn 9. Pressure starting to tell a little bit. Can't get close enough and stay close enough. Oh, and he's looking a little bit more set up. He's going to look at the inside of 14, and that's beautifully taken. Pushka just staying calmer. Smith fights the car, but he's tucked right under the rear wing. He's going to come straight back. He's going to be forced the long way around, though. And Pushka stays to the inside. And they hold it together around the final corner. Smith still alongside. He is. Two fresh engines. Who's got the better straight line speed? Smith might be back in the right position for turn 1. Pushka goes wide to try and sweep round. Oh, Smith has a bit of a broad slide. They both kind of have moments where they lose momentum mid-corner. Pushka keeps it going. Smith tries to cut back for the exit of 2. Pushka hangs on, though, and I think that might be move done. And he's had to wait very patiently to make it, and it took him several corners to do so. But very nicely done from Philip Pushka. The question is now, 3 seconds the gap to Volborn. Can he get himself up into the podium positions?
Yeah, this is the thing. Let's look at the lap times that Pushka is able to do now in clear air. He's definitely already pulling away from Misha Smith, but I think even now in the wet conditions, the lack of straight line speed for SCM was showing there. Misha Smith coming back at him down the main straight, almost taking him out there when he had that slide. That gap to Wilbur, look at that. It's already just 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, Pushka is now he's in the clear. He's moving clear of Smith very effortlessly, and he's clearly got the advantage over Volborn. So he's going to be there very soon.
Now earlier, I think lap 2 or 3, these two were battling as well. Then Janis Wilborn didn't make it too difficult for Philip Puschke to make that pass. I wonder how it will be this time when it is for a podium finish. And it's just 11 laps to go now, so taking into account how long it has taken Puschke to get past Misha Smith, who is
Who's
in the
in?
pits again. That's interesting.
I was just about to say this because obviously thinking about the timing of when they put these wet tyres on, are we going to see one final round of stops from people? Because those wet tyres are going to go off. I mean, for Lucas Murno and Pascal Polens, it kind of doesn't. Oh, and Smith stops. Obviously, yes, he's going to serve his penalty. So that, as far as I'm aware, is his penalty served. So at the very least, he now doesn't have anything left to serve. He drops to 6th. But we'll see for the people coming, because, yeah, like I say, those wet tyres might go off before the end. For Murno and Polens, it's not too bad. They basically have a free stop on each other, respectively. And Polens on Walborn. But for everyone else, I wonder if the drop-off, if it's going to be steep, is Misha Smith now, having served that penalty, putting himself in a good position to maybe get back up to 4th?
Yeah, and I think it will all. Well, we will definitely look at the sector times and his first flying lap that he does. John Palaro is in the pits.
Oh,
as well, and there is a full course yellow, and this is very bad news for Misha Smith because that will now allow Axel Flam at least to switch for a new set of wets.
so why is that being called? It's hard to tell at this moment in time. Well, that's why Gabriel Joubert is in the wall by the start-finish, and it will be upgraded to a safety car later. We are going to have the pack bunched up in wet weather for the final few laps of this race.
Oh, Lucas Murno will be cursing in the cockpit.
He will be very frustrated indeed. Very frustrated. He was home and clear, and it is out of this final corner. No longer a wet patch when the whole circuit's wet, but it's caught someone out again. Oh, Hubert hard into the wall. And oh my goodness. Oh, and that's caused... Was that an
SCMM? Was that Gino?
I thought it was I thought it looked slightly orange. I wondered if it was an Infernal Void. I think it might have been John Palaro, potentially. Palaro is in the pits, or then again, that might be a graphical glitch. We will see. So I think everyone is just...
It is Gino. It is Gino.
Oh, is it Gino?
Is he missing a rear wing? I think he is, yeah. It was Gino.
No, good spot.
So Wilborn in, unsurprisingly.
I don't
Has Philip Puschke stayed out? He has.
I think Murno and Polens have stayed out as well, unless this timing sheet just needs a moment to update.
Okay.
Unless, there we go. To be fair, Murno is now approaching the pit lane now.
But Puschke has definitely stayed out because Wilborn came in and Puschke was just going through turn 1, right?
You know, Puschke is still showing as...
They have both been in? I think they have been in.
Yeah, they've both been in.
Okay.
Yeah, Walborn, Puschke, Laflamme and Smith have all been in. Obviously, Smith went in ahead, looking at the undercut, but that's kind of ruined that for him. But at least he will be right behind them. If anything, I think Smith has actually gone for another set of wet tyres so he can have as fresh rubber as anyone else. It may only have been a lap, but fair enough. He's going to give himself the same weapons to fight with. Murno in. I imagine Polens will follow suit as well.
To be honest, I don't think there will be too many laps remaining at the end of this race.
So, safety car procedure is now in effect. So, everyone can now drive at full racing speed to catch up with Lucas Murno. which is not ideal for Pascal Polans. It's a good job he had a full pit stop anyway on Yannis Volborn, otherwise he would end up losing out at this point, because it's not the same as stopping under a virtual safety car when everyone's basically driving around on the pit limiter. But he should get in and out ahead of Volborn, so no changes to the lineup there. So now that everyone's going to rearrange themselves, we are currently on lap 47 of 55. I wonder if it will be about lap 50 by the time we get going again. So it might be
yeah,
5-6 laps. Go on, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking, because now they all need to bunch up behind Lucas Murno, and then usually there is the wave around as well, where lap cars are being waved by, and then they have to catch up again. So I think this is going to take a while. So I don't think we'll see more than 5 laps at the end.
Yeah, I think you're right. As it stands, there is no queue behind Lucas Murno, I don't think. Oh, there's a couple of lapped cars behind Lucas Murno. We are still waiting for basically Pascal Polans to even catch him. So there we go. So he's managed to catch up the tail end of the field there in terms of some back markers. We still have quite a wait. So at the minute, we've got Gabriel Juba in the pits, I think that is now. Oh no, I apologize. Of course, it's not. He's there to retire. So okay, actually, everyone is at least on 14th. Gino Gagliano is going to be the back end of the queue to begin with. So they're not too far apart. They're at least within a lap of each other. I'd say about half a lap between Lucas Murno and Gino Gagliano. So everyone is just going to bunch up between then. And then, like you say, the unlapping procedure will begin. And my goodness, there is a lot to unlap.
Only 6 cars still on the lead lap. And even after the unlapping, it will only be 10 cars. There's Jaeger, Polaro, Meneghetti, Gagliano, Frigoto, and Serino, all at least 2 laps down. And I think Misha Smith still hasn't caught the back of that queue of cars.
No, there's still quite a few stragglers to get in position at this point.
I just got word from race control. They think the safety car might just stay out for 3 or 4 laps until all of that procedure and unlapping is done. So let's say if it is 4 laps, we'll only have 3 laps of green flag running to the end.
Yeah, and they've got to be careful when they go green again, because obviously they'll be starting on a wet track. Rain intensity has dropped to 15%, but obviously it's still raining, which means it's going to be wet until the end of the race. There's no question about that. But obviously with them starting under those conditions, it's so easy that we could get going and immediately find ourselves back under safety cars at the end of the race. So I hope that when they do get going, everyone exercises a little bit of caution, because I know obviously it's a good opportunity, especially for those top 10 that are all going to be bunched together on the lead lap. But yeah, hopefully they don't do anything too risky that sees the end of the race come somewhat prematurely.
Yeah, I think we had a similar sort of situation last year at Canada, when there was a very late safety car. Track still wet. I think back then it was some drivers, I think it was Daniel Benton-Reader mainly, trying to go on the attack on a dry tire. Well, the rain intensity has dropped to 5% now. And now the unlapping has started.
So they're being called one by one, although there's a bit of confusion.
Oh dear, there's someone off the road.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of confusion about unlapping there. So there's Victor B, I think, going through. Then Curtis. It should be Machado next. Machado coming through. There it is. So Jaeger will now pull out next. Here comes Palaro. Diogo Negretti out from the queue. Now Gino will have to be careful here. I think everyone is staying to the left. But obviously through this tighter section, it might just be a case of wait until things straighten out again.
There's a big gap towards Murno and the car behind, but I think still is a Bravo, so Shatton that is waiting for the call. Might be, it has to be Frigoto. Brzezinski's out.
Yeah, where's Gajano come through? There's Gajano. Now Frigoto has been given that call. He's going to have to wait to the exit of 4. And finally, Torino will get the call. We're just waiting for that green Beta Julia to come past.
Yeah, and again, this is now the twisty sections of the circuit, so there you have to be careful. There he is.
Go through just in time. So now we wait for everyone to bunch up. So those that were on the lead lap originally, the top 6 are all together. And we wait for the remaining cars to cycle around as quickly as possible. Obviously, with it being wet conditions, we're going to be slightly cautious.
Well, one update I think we can already give you on the fastest lap competition, because I don't suspect that anybody is going to beat the 133.414 that Lucas Murno set earlier this race on the dry tyres. So Lucas Murno has taken the lead then again in the fastest lap competition, 6-5 against Pascal Polens.
Yeah, and with that it means Axel Flam now cannot win. He was in contention very briefly after securing 2 fastest laps in a row at Belgium and Great Britain. But now it is solely between Murno and Polens, just as it is for the title. Speaking of which, even looking at that gap now, so Pushka currently 4th. There is 7 points. So as it stands mathematically, if things finish as they are, Filip Pushka would still be in with a chance mathematically of winning the championship. But you have to say a very, very long shot indeed. I think there would be literally just an extra point required at the next race for Lucas Murno to take Pushka out of it mathematically.
But the thing is, and I think this is what Pushka will be hoping for, as soon as this restarts, there will be a battle between Murno and Polens in these conditions. And this, I think, is the only thing that realistically could get him back at this point, is if these two tangle, drop down the order today, and Pushka, in the best case scenario, even manages to sneak past Wilborn. That, I think, at this point is the only opportunity to get him back in the championship fight.
Yeah, I think you're right. Absolutely. Now, as it stands, we're still waiting for the tail end. We've got a car in the pits. Machado's gone into the pits. Obviously, there's a lapse between him and Jaeger, so he's not under pressure behind, but it's a late call. I wonder how long race control will wait for him. I think the race may just start with him and not with the queue.
Yeah, there's still. I think he'll still come out somewhere in that queue. I don't even think he's the last car on the track right now.
No.
I was looking at that. Not even Danny Weller has caught up. I think Weller will be catching up right now, and he's the first car to do so. We're currently on lap 50 of 55. So I think, realistically, we might see a restart next time around. At the earliest opportunity, I think that would be.
I think that's when it's going to be. I think you're right. I think there's a big clump of cars together from 8th place onwards. That's Victor B, and they're all about to catch up now with the cars. And then essentially it's just 14th, 15th. Then now the out of sequence 10th place of Mateus Machado and Chirino, which are all kind of clumps together. So they are all about to be together. Annoyingly, the most kind of frustrating time, because I think by the time we get to the start-finish straight, the entire field will be together, but it just won't be early enough to go green this lap. So I think we might have green flag racing from lap 52 onwards.
So 4 laps for Pascal Polands to find a way past Lucas Murno, or the other way around for Lucas Murno to defend from
So there is a little warning for the lapped cars. In the first sector, blue flags will not count from the restart. Once you're out of that first sector on that first lap of the restart, then you must adhere to blue flags. And I think that is mainly for the fact that Mateus Machado is obviously slotted in between Gustavo Fragoto and Chirino. So confirmation from race control, safe car in. And race control will confirm when Murno has control of the pack to dictate the pace and manage the restart. Rain is down to 5%, track wetness 0 to 60%, so we are effectively back to the conditions that we saw at the very start of this race for the restart of this race and the final few laps of action.
This is going to be spicy.
Poland's on Murno is obviously the big one to keep an eye out for. Pushka will be so keen to get Svalborn. And honestly, for the cars a lap down, just keep your nose clean. Because if anyone tries to makes a move and makes a mistake, there's still enough time to unlap yourself and somehow end up in the points. So, Jaeger, Polaro, Meneghetti, Gigiano, just run clean and you might get lucky.
Yeah, that, and also keep an eye out on Mateus Machado. He has a couple of lapped cars now in the way, but he has the freshest tyres of them all, and he looked quite handy in the rain, as race control has just given Lucas Murno control over the pace now, so he can go at any moment now, and he's bunching them right together here.
How early do you go? You've got 2 big straights here, 2 chances to attack.
He's gone
and
now,
it looks like
I
he's
think.
gone. He's gone very, very early indeed. I was expecting to maybe hold them a little bit more to try and negate the effects of the slipstream, but it's all about this exit at this final corner now. As we head round.
Smith is already alongside someone.
Smith is past Laflamme. In the meantime, Poland's on the attack for Murno. I think he might hang on this time, but he's really close indeed. He has half a look just behind. Volborn defensive against Pushka. Laflamme trying to come back against Smith. They're both on the inside for turn 2. In fact, Smith almost getting so close he can touch the back of Pushka's car. Pushka's going to be tucked under the rear wing on the run up to turn 4. Will he have a look out? Volborn goes defensive. He's going to try and send Pushka around the long way. Nothing doing there. And this is going to bunch up these again. And Misha Smith has been ordered to give the position back to Axel Laflamme. I almost said this. He overtook before the start-finish straight. I think you have to wait for the start-finish straight. So he has now got to pull out of the way. Denny Vella might see an opportunity to nick ahead, but I don't think he has done. So now he's got to do it again. Volborn, though, currently hanging on to his podium position. This is going to be vital for all of these. Volborn, Pushka, Laflamme and Smith all in with a chance. Vella's gone with them as well. Vella is on the back of this queue. So even he might fancy himself an opportunist moment if he can stick them in the pace.
Yeah, now Pushkin looks like a bit on the back foot, so Wilbon has a bit of a gap now. Into turn 9, it even looked like he was a bit under pressure from La Flamme, Philip Pushka. In the background, Misha Smith still looking at that Vanguard rear wing as Murno has got that gap. Well, oh, Laro 5 seconds for overtaking on the yellow.
That's a good X from the final corner from Smith. Bellery still tucked under right there. Murno is currently doing enough to hold on just ahead. And Smith is going to have a look. Oh, he does the dummy. And is he going to try and put La Flamme off for the run out of 2? But no. Axel not moved. Denny Vella's right there. Ready just in case. Smith very close though. It's very hard to try and make this move up to 4. And if you can defend the inside, you can hang on. I think La Flamme does. Oh no, he doesn't. But Smith not making the look this time. And now Smith all over the back of this Vanguard. He's just giving Pushka the opportunity, which is going to put him right back onto Volborn.
And again, we have this weird sort of situation where I think the track is very different in very different areas of it. Because here, there's absolutely no spray. And again, on the start-finish straight, it is absolutely intense. Wetness is 0 to 60% at the moment. Rain has been down to 5% for quite a while now, as there's a bit of a moment for Victor B, which brought Aaron Curtis close to the back of that Infernal Void.
Curtis into the wetter part of the circuit now. Could have a good run out of turn 14. And just can't seem to get in closer. B goes defensive. He's going to try and angle it for the inside on the exit. B just able to get the power down a little bit better. Not this time. Oh, and Palauro's 5-second time penalty has been lifted. Interesting enough, I'm not sure why that is. In the meantime, we rejoin the fight for third. Volborn currently holding Pushka. Murno seems to be doing just enough to hang on from Poland's as well.
Yeah, they're quite equal on pace, Murno and Poland's. They have been throughout that wet stint towards the end. So I think it will be very, very difficult for Pascal Polands to make a move. I think he kind of has to hope for a mistake from Lucas Murno in these last 1.5 laps already.
You can't underestimate the importance of this. If Poland's were to take the win, he would eat into that gap a little bit more. The gap would come down to 11 points. But Murno, it would put it up to 17, so just over a race win, which makes it even closer to securing the title maybe next time in Suzuka.
Yeah, if they stay as they are, all Murno has to do is finish ahead of Pascal Polands, and regardless of where that is, that will be the championship for Lucas Murno, as now into the final corner. It is a good run Philip Pushka has, but as soon as he drops out of the slipstream, the advantage is gone. He is past Wilborn for the moment, but can Wilborn do something about this on the main straight? They are entering the final lap right now, but it looks like Philip Pushka has enough of a gap over Janis Wilborn for turn 1.
Going to try and sweep in. The gap closes right in again. And Smith is having a look at La Flamme. La Flamme is going to try and cover the inside. Can Smith try and swing around the outside of 2? He's going to have to go really wide. He's going to have the inside of 3, and Smith is through. La Flamme might try and fight back now at 4, but he's going to struggle. Oh, he's going to send it. He's going to send it up to 4. Oh, it's a big, big dive. And is it going to cost him another position? It is. Denny Vella through.
Smith's also gone through.
And that's That's all Denny Vella needs to do, just sit there just in case. In the meantime, look at how close the leaders are. Lucas Murno and Pascal Poland's together down to 3/10. It is all about this run up to turn 14 to see if Pascal Polands can set himself up for an overtake. It's got to be inch perfect from Lucas Murno to not give him an opportunity into the wettest part of the circuit. Through 14 we go. Well, Poland tries to get a tighter line and gets a little bit closer, but he might have compromised his exit speed, and he just spins up the wheels at the worst possible moment. I think that might be it. I think Lucas Murno is going to hang on. And it is going to put the gap to over a race win again. Just get the power down one final time. Lucas Murno away towards the line, and he hangs on to win in Malaysia. That could be a vital win if he's going to secure this title. Poland second, Pushka hangs on for third, Volborn is fourth, just missing out on a podium. Misha Smith will come home fifth. Denny Vella, it's a fine sixth for him. Flam will be frustrated at that move that cost him a couple of places, but he's home seventh, and that is Vanguard a little bit closer to the constructors. In the meantime, Victor B over the line, holds off Curtis, and Mahado will be 10th. And Malaysia, rain, delivered exactly what we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. What a race.
So Lucas Murno hangs on. He stops the Pascal Poland's run of wins and moves 17 points clear at the top of the championship. Filip Pushka is still mathematically in the championship, but he is very close to being able to be hands-on with third. Yanis Volborn fourth, another big result for Velocita in their constructors' standings in the second part of the season. Misha Smith is fifth ahead of Denny Bella for Lucky Hamish. Axel Uplam seventh ahead of Victor B. Victor B's second best result of the season so far. Aaron Curtis ninth and Mateus Machado the last of the point scorers for Potenza. Gumenegetti is 11th ahead of Jean Polaro, Maximilian Diego, Gina Gajano, and Chirino finishing the race, but at multiple laps down. Gabriel Schubert, Gustavo Brzezinski, Gabriel Peckley, and Dominic Rustermeyer all DNFing this afternoon.
And incredible. 9 different teams in the top 10. Vanguard, the only team with both of their cars in there. So, yeah, I think very encouraging signs for a very competitive field there as well.
Absolutely. What is interesting is the change of momentum in this season has been quite drastic, it has to be said. Remember, when we started this season, we had, I think it was 6 different winners in the first 6 races. Oh, sorry, 5 different winners in the first 5 races, I should say. But now we're in a position where we haven't had a winner that isn't Lucas Murno or Pascal Polands since round 6. So those two have very much locked in and become the most consistent pairing after such a varied start in terms of winners. Remember, Ruben Meshida, Lucas Murno, Filip Pushka, Pascal Polands, Axel Laflamme, all winners in the first races, but then, yeah, Polands and Murno very much settling in to make it a two-way fight. And as ever, we will wait for the top 3 to be moved. And in fact, they are being moved as we speak. And we will speak the top 3 from
today. What was
a very, very active Malaysian race. And we begin with race winner Lucas Murno. Lucas, congratulations. That was a race with what seemed like very different phases where kind of pace came to certain people and then fell away from certain people depending on the conditions. How did you find it out there today?
Well, what a conditions for today. Was it was critical to know about a good timings to make a a good stop at the right time in this race. There's some parts of the track that didn't dry out quickly, so it was really hard to take a decision to which part we we should stop. And at this way, we could take a follow in the confidence of the track during the wet, dry stint, the mixed stints. I mean, actually, dump stints, dump conditions. And in the end, we had a safety car who got a bit of a juice, but in the end, everything went fine. Finally, after a very eventful races, and today was a very important win, surely. And now we have to take a look now for Suzuka and watch out what will go on, because now, as we saw in the quali, it's gonna be more tight between the whole field, so it's gonna be hard to take a good measure to see what will go on for Suzuka, by the way.
And yeah, I feel like there was two key moments for you in that race. I think it was the pit after the pit stop when you first changed to wet tires. It felt like you just settled into the conditions quicker than anyone else, and then obviously holding on at the end. Yeah, did you find it okay? Obviously, when it was kind of moving from wet dry, there were obviously, like you say, lots of different awkward parts where some of the track was dry, some of it was wet. You seem to just do a really good job at finding the dry parts of the track. Um, was it comfortable for you, or did you have a few moments out there where you nearly lost it with the difficult conditions?
Oh, this car actually is fear to drive, to be honest. But so in these conditions, it's quite even hard to take a measure. We have to. So you have to take a high guard, a high look to the conditions of the track, and in the end, we got a good measure of it. And in the end, it was crucial to take a win today, and that was important. Spa was a good experience to be for this race, so it was crucial to take a good measurement to take the win today.
And obviously now you are just over a race win clear, 17 points ahead of Pascal. Next time, are you going to try and win the title, or is it just a case of making sure you have the gap for your home race in Brazil? What's your aim for next time? Your mentality going into it?
Oh, I can't say. I can't say. Everything went happening. So between all the external things and internal things. So let's hope everything went fine for the next race. Of course, the best option is with the title, but let's take a look. What we go on. Some cars will be better at Suzuka, so it's gonna be hard to try to keep a good gap. But well, let's see how it goes. If the win came, okay. If not, let's try for Brazil. But well, let's take a look at what will go on. That's why after such eventful races, I now had a mentality of everything can happen. So I had to keep all the guard open now.
Absolutely. Fantastic race win today, Lucas. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Pascal, to you next. I feel like it was a big few laps where everything changed for you in this race, because obviously you got the undercut on Lucas, but then got caught out by the conditions. Was that kind of a big turning point for you, because it seemed like things are about to swing your way then?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Lucas for the win, because I think it was well deserved. I think he did the least amount of mistakes, so first of all, well done to him. And yeah, for my part, I think in the wet, I was probably the fastest guy with Philip together. And yeah, we as a team always knew that in the dry we don't really have the pace, because as I said in the last race, the track is really bumpy, and somehow we always struggle when it's bumpy. We tried everything, so yeah, it was to be expected that in the dry we are not as quick, also because we had less updates than the other guys. But yeah, also as you said, when when I went through the last corner, I don't know, it was really wet, and I wasn't even pushing. But yeah, when the car gets sideways, you try to correct it, then the car gets grip because of a dry spot. It's really difficult, and yeah, I think I did a job that was not as good as Lucas's job. So, as I said, congratulations to him.
Yeah, and it's fair to say when you watch back the race afterwards, you will see you are not the only person that got caught out by that patch that seemingly never dried ever throughout the race. There's so many people caught out through that final corner. A very difficult moment. So obviously, you know, things are very tight now for the championship. How do you fancy your chances going in to Suzuka and trying to keep things alive to the final round?
I want to win for sure in Suzuka, and we also have a last round of upgrades coming there, so I think it will be closer once again. Also, the track is less bumpy. And yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting with Lucas, maybe even Gabriel, the SEMMs, HRT, and us with Vanguard to maybe have even 8 guys fighting for the win. Let's see.
Well, that sounds very interesting indeed. Very best of luck and congratulations on the second place today, Pascal.
Yeah, thank you.
And Philip, finally to you, obviously it was your turn to take the risk in terms of the engine gamble. You did what you needed to in qualifying with the great lap. How happy are you with your recovery to third today? It seemed like you were in a never-ending battle to get there, though, from like sixth to third with 3 other guys.
Yeah, I think the car was better than the result showed today. I mean, third is still okay, but looking at the pace that was possible in the dry, especially, I think it's not a good result. Looking at the way the race went, I think it's a good result. But yeah, I had so many things going on: spins, half crashes, wrong tire choice. Felt like I lost a lap in total, like with all the things going on. But yeah, I think in the end it's still pleasing to get the podium at least.
No, absolutely. And obviously, you had quite a few good fights out there. A couple of frustrating moments. I think you got caught out twice by 2 separate cars doing unsafe rejoins. In moments like that, how difficult is it to kind of keep your head when you're kind of seemingly making progress and then having constant setbacks? Because, you know, I imagine that being frustrating, especially when you had 2 moments out in that final corner where other cars were just kind of in your way.
Yeah, I mean, the last corner was never experienced something like this, where the track seemed to be drying, and then there was like 50% wetness for a spot. So yeah, it was difficult, but I think the guys. I mean, it was very difficult to keep the car on the road in the first place, and to rejoin safely, it was very difficult as well. I had to reverse myself as well to do it. So I'm not really upset too much with the guys because it's very difficult, but obviously very unlucky for me to be in that position twice. Lost so much time then and damaged the car pretty badly at the front and understeer as well. So I think considering all that, the third is still okay. But yeah, I mean, looking at the pace and the dry, I think was more on the table.
Well, despite all that, congratulations on still getting the podium. Very well done.
Yeah, thanks.
And that brings us to the end of an eventful Malaysia. We all knew that Malaysia in the wet was going to throw up some surprises, and boy, did it. Next time, though, the penultimate round of the championship in Suzuka, Japan. In 2 weeks' time, we could see both championships crowned, or we could see both of them still very reasonably go to the wire in Interlagos. And I do hope you'll join us for it. Thank you so much for watching this afternoon. We'll see you in 2 weeks in Japan. Take care.